What's up traders? In this video, I will be performing a market forecast on EUR/USD using smart money concepts. So stay tuned. Now this video is going to serve as my outlook for EUR/USD for the month of December 2023. This is obviously not going to be a full month of trading per se because of the holiday season that is fast approaching. However, I felt like it would still be beneficial for us to have a look at the market and see what we can anticipate going into the end of the year. As always, I'm going to be focusing on the weekly, daily, and 4-hour time frames to give you more of a medium to long-term look at this particular pair. Now we're going to start off on the weekly time frame. Our weekly time frame is bearish. Our last bearish break of structure took place in here. At the moment, our overall target from a weekly point of view is this weekly week low down here. Now we did have a pullback into premium pricing. After price action swept this weekly supply zone, our internal structure shifted bearish, which signaled the start of our weekly bearish continuation phase. And then soon after that internal structure shifted bearish in here, we had this internal pullback. Now, as we go into the month of December, I want to draw your attention to this weekly supply zone in here, which sits at the extreme of our current internal range. With the fact that we are still experiencing this internal pullback phase, there is potential for price action to come up and mitigate this particular supply zone in here before price action potentially rolls over to target our week low. Before price action reaches that week low, we will first need to see what happens at this weekly demand. Now, if we do see an interaction with this zone and it fails to hold, we have two more supply zones above that area that we can anticipate that bearish continuation to originate from. However, because of the fact that we don't have a full month of trading ahead of us, I would say that realistically, this is our main next area of interest. Now, there obviously is no guarantees that price action will come in to mitigate this area, but this is something that I just wanted to draw your attention to because it does have that potential to facilitate our move. Now, from the weekly time frame, we can drop down to the daily time frame. And here you can see that internal range a little bit clearer. We have our last break of structure being this bearish break of structure in here. We obviously have that bearish daily range. This is our pullback phase that has lasted for the entirety of November and for the majority of October. And here we have our weekly supply zone that sits at the extreme of that range. Now, during our last market forecast video, we were hovering around about this area in here, and we identified this daily supply zone as the first area within the range where that daily bearish continuation phase could originate from. As you guys can see, we did indeed have a pullback into and a mitigation of that zone. However, we did not see a bearish reaction out of the zone. We only had about 2 days of price action stalling or giving us a small bearish reaction before it continued higher to mitigate the next daily supply zone that sat just above. Now, this again is a valid zone. It's well priced within the range. Critically, it's a zone that swept some liquidity prior to its formation. And you can see how after price mitigated that area, we had a really nice bearish reaction out of that zone. At this point in time, our overall target for the daily range is going to be a violation of this daily week low down here. However, the start of that daily bearish continuation phase will only truly be confirmed when this internal structure in here actually shifts bearish to signal the start of that 4-hour bearish continuation phase. Now, where we are at the moment, our internal structure is still pointing bullish. We're going to have a look at that in a minute on the 4-hour time frame. But this means that essentially we are still experiencing this daily pullback. And because of the fact that we are still experiencing the daily pullback, there is that potential for price action to trade a bit higher and to look to mitigate this weekly zone. We can see that within that weekly zone, we do have this refined area in here that has liquidity that sits just below it, that price action can now come into and mitigate. Now, the recent mitigation of daily supply in here does obviously have the potential to lead to a violation of the week low. However, until our internal structure shifts bearish, there is that potential for a deeper pullback into supply in here. And then finally here on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that I have this large bullish 4-hour range. We had a pullback into the equilibrium. Price action has already mitigated this 1-hour demand zone that sits at the equilibrium, and we had an initial bullish reaction to that zone. The current anticipation for this time frame is for this bullishness to continue. The overall target for this range is going to be a violation of the 4-hour week high. However, we need to take into account the fact that price action recently mitigated a well-priced higher time frame supply zone in here. So as much as we're trading within this bullish 4-hour range in here, there is potential for this range to break down, for the 4-hour strong low to be violated in order to facilitate what would essentially be the daily bearish continuation phase. So depending on how market opens on Monday, the 4th of December, two main scenarios that we could see playing out here on the 4-hour time frame. Either we see price action push up from where it is now to go ahead and not only target the 4-hour week high, but also to potentially go ahead and facilitate what would be a deeper pullback into the daily range up towards weekly supply in here. The second scenario that we could see playing out is price action resuming with this pullback, and then this 4-hour demand zone in here would be the next sell target for that particular pullback. This would then be essentially the last area within this 4-hour range where our 4-hour bullish continuation phase could originate from. If this area were to break down, it would then make our 4-hour strong low vulnerable, and a violation of the 4-hour strong low would confirm the start of the daily bearish continuation phase. Now, as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure that you give it a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future content. As always, I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.